9 months ago in Paris, with France the winners. England and France made the final with 100% records. England beating Georgia, Ireland and Wales in Pool A, with France being awarded 5 match points due to COVID issues in the Fiji camp, and then beat Scotland and Italy on the pitch. England scored 10 tries in their 3 games, both defences tight. England conceded 2 tries in 3 games and France just the 1 in their 2 matches played. And in the playoff games, 7th and 8th, Georgia 24, Fiji 38, 3 tries for Nemani Nandolo. Fiji 6 tries in total. 3rd and 4th place playoff, Ireland 31, Scotland 16, 2 tries for Keith Earls, 3 Ireland tries in the second half. And 5th and 6th, Wales 38, Italy 18. Wales scored 5 tries, George North amongst the scorers. Well, there were 20 tries in total in the playoffs. Let's hope we see a spectacle today in the Autumn Cup final between England and France. And of course, the great news is that 2,000 fans have been allowed in the stadium for this game. And there are 400 of those from the National Health Service. Staff from the West Middlesex and Teddington Memorial Hospitals, and 350 random NHS workers picked through a ballot. Well, the French under Philippe Gaultier made a very successful start to their tenure as the head coach of France. He's built an impressive coaching team around him, and now, after coming so close in the Six Nations, a chance for France to pick up a first piece of silverware today. The big target, of course, is the World Cup in France in 2023, and a whole lot of what the French are about is building a squad for that tournament. The French winning the World Cup in France would indeed be rugby nirvana for them. There's Baptiste Couilloud, who is captaining France on his first start, and the youngest French captain since Fabien Pelouse back in 1997. Well, England won the recent Six Nations on points difference from today's Autumn Cup final opponents, France. England lost 1 game in the Six Nations. It was to France in Paris in round 1. A memorable game. France blasted out to a 24-0 lead, and England blasted back to secure a losing bonus point. And that bonus point critical in the final count on the Six Nations table. England hunting down a second trophy in the space of 5 weeks. World Cup finalists, Six Nations champions, and maybe Autumn Cup champions as well. And as I was saying, 400 NHS workers in the limited crowd of 2,000. 50 of those, by the way, have the honour today of sitting in the Royal Box. So now a tribute to them and all of those affected by COVID-19 during the pandemic. There's also a moment here in memory of the great French winger Christophe Dominici, who scored a try here at Twickenham in that epic 1999 Rugby World Cup semi-final win against New Zealand. Well, this week Eddie Jones said that this was England's grand final of 2020 and, quote, "We want to make sure we put on our best performance and light up people's eyes." Well, England's winning rugby hasn't shown much sparkle so far. Maybe today is the day for the glitz to appear. And before we see the teams, a moment of silence for Rugby Against Racism and the Black Lives Matter campaign. England coach Eddie Jones going hard against this weakened French team. Ellis Genge in for Mako Vunipola, but close to the 15 that beat Wales. Player of the match, Sam Underhill, looking to combine again with Tom Curry, the other half of the Kamikaze twins. In the backs, one change. Anthony Watson comes onto the wing for the injured Jonathan Joseph. Owen Farrell is the captain and plays his 39th international in the centre. Johnny May has scored 7 tries against France. And on the England bench, Joe Marchant comes in. He was playing for the Auckland Blues during the initial UK lockdown. And the French starting 15, just 68 caps, 23 in the pack. Silabasio Tolofua makes his debut at number 8. Kylian Girassi looked good against Italy last week, as did Cameron Woki, a line-out menace. In the backs, Brice Dulin, with 30 caps, has most of the 68. Baptiste Couilloux captains France on his first start, alongside Mathieu Jalibert, the starting 10 against Italy and Scotland. And on the bench, Winnie Antonio is the only player in the 23 with caps in double figures. Well, in just 9 weeks' time, the 2021 Six Nations begins, but here England and France, who battled it out for the 2020 title, almost to the whistle on Super Saturday at the end of October, here again, and once again fighting for silverware. Alongside me today, former England scrum half and Test Lion, Dowie Morris.
Thanks, Robbie. Yeah, I think England have one hand on the trophy already. This style may not be pleasant on the eye, but Eddie Jones does not give a fig about that. He has paid the big bucks to get the wins, so that is that. If you kick the most, you win the most. France come to Twickenham with a vastly inexperienced squad, to say the least. Galtier has had his hands tied by the French clubs. This, however, I feel may suit him and his players. It's their chance to stake a claim. No pressure on both. That could make Le Bleu a very different opponent.
Okay, Tom on.
Well, a reminder, France, due to an agreement with the top 14 clubs, are a much changed outfit. No player was allowed to play more than 3 games in this extended autumn window, and France played their big team at the start of the window. England have no such restrictions, so it's going to be fascinating to see how this game plays out. Eddie Jones very much going full metal jacket against a French side hindered by that agreement. I said maybe it was a disagreement. It's always hard to tell in French rugby. Bougarit of La Rochelle with the first line out for France, and they go to Cameron Woki, who I can tell you is a menace on both sides of the ball in the line out. Fabulous athlete. He's very bendy, Bernard Jackman was telling me, the former Grenoble coach who knows all about Woki from his days in the top 14. But England have got their hands on the ball. They put the ball into the air through Ben Youngs. Both sides do go aerially a lot. Actually, France have kicked just slightly more in open space than England in this tournament. 37 times from hand per match play to England's 36.
Yeah, they both kick well, and one thing that England do well is turn over. That's one to Tom Curry. He turned that ball out, but I think Eddie Jones's words calling the French team a little bit of a farce has fired them up. So expect some big hits early on in this game.
Yeah, Rafael Ibanez said they used that word farce in their build-up, as you say, to motivate this French side. And of course they will be bullish. They've got Sean Edwards amongst their coaching staff, and they've turned the ball over too. Here's Kuyu, tremendous counter ruck, and England forced onto that back foot through Johnny May with the clearance. Johnny May, that's astonishing record, 7 tries in 7 games against France. Off goes Raka, and everybody, certainly French supporters, will be wanting to see what Raka can produce in that French shirt. He's been out of favour for over a year.
Tremendous physical start from both sides. I think that was Billy Vunipola putting an absolute hit on one of the French players in the midfield. So they've set their precedent out on both sides here. Really big on the contact, really quick to get the ball back.
Off goes Cameron Woki. Here is Kuyu. And now it's Bougourit. Mathieu Jalibert thought about the kick, but decides to ship the ball into midfield. Jalibert looked a little bit more relaxed against Italy. Previously, he has looked like a nervy 10 in that French shirt, but of course, it's all about experience and getting game time. And Jalibert gets that today. What a clearing kick. The French driven back hard onto the back foot and forced to clear their own lines from very deep through Brice Dulin.
Brice Dulin does very well. He nicks about 15 metres back, but again, it is incredibly physical. So that's a counter-rack there. That's well done. That's fantastic play from Collinger, the loose head prop. And watch this. My word. Big hits. That's Raka. Billy Vunipola, I think, wins that battle. He's not for the faint-hearted out there at the moment.
Jamie George for Maro Itoje, and it's George Ford, the inside ball for Billy Vunipola. Over 650 carries in an England shirt so far. This is 50th start at number 8 for England today. Here's Ford at 10, Farrell at 12. Farrell has now played more games at 12 for England than he has at 10.
Yeah, the 2 receivers are out there. But again, we will see a lot of kicking. It's Galtier's way, Eddie Jones's way. As I said at the top, you kick the most, you win the most. But interestingly, against Italy, it wasn't the greatest game France played. Was it last week or so? 46 kicks for France, 43 against Italy. So they do like to put their toe on the ball as well. And there he is. You mentioned him before, didn't you, Robert Woki? He is an absolute line-out nose, as I think Maro Itoje is for England. They love to put pressure on the opponent's line-out and throws, and it's so important in the game.
Yeah, just watching Woki against Itoje is going to be fascinating today, and they are face to face in the line out here as Bougourit goes for Woki. He shuffled his way down the line out, you might have noticed there, and you sense he's going to be a big target, but unfortunately for France, they make their fumble. Against Italy last week, they did play in 1s and 2s in the pack. They looked more like a French barbarian side, a little bit disorganised, but you'd have to expect that because they were basically thrown together because of this agreement between the LNR and the top 14 clubs, a limit on the amount of games the players were allowed to play.
It is. It's the cards that Fabien Galtier has been dealt, so he knows this, but I think it's a great opportunity for France. The World Cup's there in 2023. He's seen players experiencing this style of pressure that England will put them under. Tolifu then dropping that ball, and Woki doing so well in the line out, and that's given advantage to England. But I'm all for Galtier in the style that he wants to play, and to put these youngsters in. What is it? 68 caps in the starting 15, and 30 of those with Brice Dulin. So nothing. And I hate the term normally, nothing to lose. You have got something to lose the game, but actually in this sense, I'll go with it because the experience these French players will gain will build, I think, the French squad going into that World Cup.
Yeah, and he's missing, I think it's between 25 and 30 first-team regulars. Antoine Dupont, Teddy Thomas both scored tries for their clubs yesterday back in the top 14. But you are seeing a lot of the players that won those back-to-back Junior World Cups in 2018, 2019, in Béziers and Rosario as he tries to chunk up that squad looking forward to France in 2023, and there's more of them on the pitch this afternoon.
Give them game time. Give them absolute game time. They will get the experience of playing at the top with their French clubs, because it's a fantastically the top 4 team. But nothing replicates this. And equally, the likes of Fiji and Georgia, it's great to see them battling out yesterday, at Murrayfield. A very wet and cold Murrayfield, I have to say. But it was a good performance by Fiji. We'll see who has the best performance today, but this is a tremendous opportunity for Youngs now, loaded on both sides.
Now, first scrum penalty for England, who won 5 scrum penalties against the Welsh in West Wales in their last outing in the Autumn Cup. Remember, it was the scrum where England suffered against South Africa in the World Cup final when they conceded 5 penalties. And Eddie Jones' thinking, I think, possibly is, part of the thinking is, that is never going to happen to us again. The way England were dominated in that World Cup, and maybe England are layering, building their defence, their set piece, their kicking game, perfect that, and then layer in the attacking game as the last rivet of an unsinkable England. What do you think of that as a theory, Dowie Morris?
You're in the pulpit today, aren't you, on the Sunday? It is a theory. Listening to his words before the game in the interview, what he's like. He said the game will dictate what the game dictates. Well, you do go in with a game plan. England did go in a game plan in that World Cup. It didn't come off, and that's what happens when you actually it's very difficult, because England are so powerful, but if you take that power away, as South Africa did, is there a game plan B? Well, on that day it wasn't. England have definitely got to find one.
Owen Farrell, over 900 points for England, over 200 penalties for England. Yes, Eddie O'Sullivan said we haven't really accelerated our rugby. There was a Sunday Times headline post-Wales, earthy Eddie's aim of negative destruction. And the Associated article said Eddie's world had little room for the artist. Will the brushstrokes appear as England develop?
All he's worried about is the W and the tick at this moment in time. So, and he's getting them, so you can't criticise too much. The style is the style. You've got 2,000 people in here. You would say how many people would like to come and watch England play this style and pay £100 a ticket? Not many. But again, it's winning, and you can't deny Eddie Jones and his coaches that this is the style they've brought into, that they want to play, and so be it.
Here is Jonathan Donty, who was a fitness doubt, passed a test late in the week for this game. Now it's Mathieu Jalibert, a little soft offload, just held the ball for Bougaritte. Really dynamic player. I was speaking to Ronan O'Gara a short time ago, and he was telling me just that. Keep an eye on Bougaritte in the loose. Here's Dula, and now Villiers, who scored a wonderful try against Italy last week. A real whipper-snapper run off a stolen line out. And well, in celebration of that, the director, I thought, beautifully cut up a close-up of Christophe Domenici's picture in the stadium as another number 11 scored for France.
Always backwards.
Ball backwards there, so it's Moefana in possession. Another newbie in this French side. First start for Moefana, the 20-year-old, the first French international to be born this century. How old does that make you feel, Morris?
Gerassi is the culprit. Won 2 World Cups for France. He is talked up on high in France. He's going to go very, very well, I'm sure, because he's coming with a big rap. But coming in on the side for that one is given again a chance just to let England release the pressure. You see, you've got to come through the gate. He comes in at the side, takes Underhill off the ball. Who else would be there? You can't do that. You sometimes get away with it, but not on this occasion.
Gerassi started in the second row in those 2 World Junior Championship winning sides of 18 and 19, as you say, very highly rated. Now here's Jamie George off that Henry Slade kick, and it's Launchbury, and it's interfered with. There's an arm, comes in. The referee Andy Brace says penalty.
Penalty. Farrell will go for goal. I'm sure it's a final after all. Yeah, no hesitation there, and it was Wacky who got up, because again he is just chuck him up in the air, doesn't he? Just like, you know what We've got this guy that can actually disarm a line out. Well, why not? Just get him up there. Unfortunately, you're not allowed to put your arm on somebody else's while you're in the air. He's done that. Unfortunately, it's probably another 3 points. The Farrell almost in exactly the same place, a little bit further out.
And you're right, Dowie, with Woki. They just fire them. They just like a rocket. It's like from NASA. Bang, up you go.
Not too safe, though, really, is it?
It's not too subtle either. But
I'm going to trust you guys that are checking you up in the air.
Make sure you catch me on the way down, please. 4 Lions test caps for Owen Farrell. 39th game in the centre, 38 games starting at out half for England. 5 from 8 against Wales. He was slightly off target, hadn't quite got the compass bearings down in Llanelli. Perfect kicking conditions today. It was breathless out there. Oh, he didn't catch that one at all, did he? Got himself into a very strange shape, actually, as he struck it.
Very un-Farrell-like. Absolutely sure, not been a kicker. I have to note myself, but that just didn't look right straight away as he was approaching the ball. Paul Grayson alongside me doing the other commentary. May I have a chat with him at half-time? Thought he could kick a ball. World Cup winner with England, obviously, in 2001.
Off goes Aldeguiri, and as Kuyu manages to weave the ball through a few French players to find Mathieu Jalibert. No Romain Ntamack, of course, who's not able to play. He's actually injured at the moment anyway. Here is Brice Dulin, 129 metres against the Italians last week. The diminutive former Racing player, now at La Rochelle. He moved on when Racing signed Simon Zebo and Curtly Beale. And Louis Dupichot was playing a fair bit at fullback as well, so Dulin decided it was an opportunity to move to another club and get some more first-team rugby that he might have had in Paris.
Yeah, he was about the only shining light, I would say.
Attack the ball, yeah.
France did get 5 tries, but Brice Dulin, his game is to run from deep. But unfortunately, Galtier, that has actually been restricted a little bit, but again, you cannot stop him. He is not the biggest guy, but he does make some tremendous yards, and England are going to be very wary of him. If he kicks too aimlessly, he will run back. This is very difficult, very hard. And this is the contact area. Look at Kerry's in there, Underhill's in there. They try and get that ball, get their hands on the ball, support their own weight, and get those crucial turnovers, which are so important to any side.
Hold 4. Hold.
Le Taladeur, as they're known in French, the hooker, Pierre Duguerit. Let's see what it goes to this time. Will it be Woki again? And I think he was the target, but he couldn't get a fingertip to it. Play on, and off they go, rumbling through Girassi, the highly rated Girassi. Now Jalibert sees a hole again. Oh, he's through it. Jalibert, what a pass under pressure as he was falling from Jalibert. And Brice Dulin scores the try for France. The England defence there was completely juiced by the skill in that French backline.
Well, it's the big second row that set the platform, Girassi. The line-up wobbled a little bit when that ball came out, just out the back, missing 2 players out. Not quite sure who's the inside. Was it Launchbury? But again, he's just straight through the gap. And you said about Jalibert, he looked a little bit nervous early on in this competition. He's flourishing now, straight through. It's Jamie George, it's Owen Farrell. They get it wrong. Daly can't do anything. Brice Dulin can. What a score for France. Well deserved.
Well, Jalibert's confidence has been growing. He's had his twitchy moments against Scotland when he came off the bench, even starting against Scotland in the Autumn Cup. But last week against Italy, you saw a little bit more about what Jalibert was about and how much confidence will that break and pass do for this man. So the stats there, 4 from 5 against Italy. He sets up the try for Dulin, then he converts, and France are in the lead.
In the lead, and again, it's just one missed tackle. Crucial, England pride themselves on that white wall. They get off the line, they put pressure on the ball carriers. That time they didn't. Jamie George misses the tackle. Jalibert's through. One pass to Dulin. Thank you very much.
Something Ireland couldn't do here in that 18-7 defeat. England putting in 245 tackles. They moved out to a 12-0 lead after 20 minutes, and they seemed happy enough just to give the ball to Ireland. They pretty much knew, they did their analysis, Ireland would be predictable, one-out runners. They couldn't break England down, and that match was pretty much over after 20 minutes. But somehow, already, the French have found a way to pierce their way through what you call the white wall.
The white wall, but it's 28 tackles already for England, just 6 for France. And you've got to say, Ford there just aimlessly kicking that ball far too long. It was too easy at the ball to mark in the 22. And now he'll go up in the air and go long again.
Owen Farrell straight down the middle. Backwards. Bit of dodgems between Jalibert and Dumas. Jalibert, and here is Johnny May, and the crowd of 2,000 in Twickenham today wanted to see Johnny May run there. You could just hear the decibels rising.
France!
George Ford, just a second start for England in 8 months. Johnny May is on the chase. He was body checked out of that very clearly indeed. I think it was Posanti who dropped the shoulder there.
Okay, thank you.
I think it was the Poe second row.
Okay, just on the marker. No, he's not the
I'm
kicker.
not sure. I mean, he has changed his angle. He's running across, but Johnny May surely could get out of the way as well.
Change the line.
I think that's 6 of one and half a dozen of the others. Johnny May has done well in milking that. They have a penalty.
Wait.
If this is not in Farrell's range, it will be in Daly's range. He's got a rocket launcher of a boot. Yeah, they're going to go for the pen.
Well, the referee said he changed his line, so
he's
you
got
change your line.
Get that message across, please.
You're opening yourself up to a penalty, are you?
Yes, but he's got his back to it, and like I said, Johnny May had plenty of time to get out of the way, as in go round him. Just watch this guy's action when he kicks the ball. He really gives it some.
Elliot Daly, his nickname in England camp is the briefcase. Apparently he turned up for an early training session with an actual briefcase full of notes that he'd been asked to refer to as homework.
How the game's changed.
Whoomph from Daly. Look at that. He is deadly from anywhere.
And that's a sandwich for him. He can't hit him from over the halfway line.
Test Lion as well. There's 6 Test Lions in this England side. So they have a lot of top-class players out there. 3 tests in New Zealand for Elliot Daly. And 3 points now as well. Matthew Jalibert with the start, and Maro Itoje, who's had an exceptional Autumn Cup. He was looking at his breakdown arrival stats and clear-out stats, his tackle stats. He's near the top or at the top in nearly every category. Here's Henry Slade back in the 13 shirt. 2 at 12, 2 at 13 in this tournament. Jalibert's going to get cul-de-sac here.
He does well to get down early.
Q to Bougary. Look at quickly. Maro Itoje's up there with Carl Sinclair alongside him. This John Mitchell coached England defence is voracious and vicious and in your face very quickly indeed.
You've got to say that Shaun Edwards and France are trying to replicate. Well, not replicate, it's the Shaun Edwards way in a sense, and he has just totally changed the way that France get off the line. That word, get off the line in defence. You know, have somebody thinking in a white shirt, oh, have I got that time to make that pass, to make that kick? That's the pressure they put them under.
Good on 3. On 3.
Andy Brace, the referee, is actually an international himself. Played scrum half for Belgium at 15s and 7s.
In the right position anyway, not sure. Oh, good one.
Yep. Bougary finds Gerassi, little move on, but England have it well covered, and Carl Sinclair was very alert at the front of that line out now with Bristol having moved there from Harlequins, and Already a European winner is Carl Sinclair, picking up the Challenge Cup under Pat Lam this season.
No.
And you're not running through or running round Underhill. That is for sure. So wrong option there. Good option to start. I like the trickery of the 2-ball to the scrum half. Unfortunately, England flew out, so he couldn't pass the ball. As Kuyu to his fly half, tried his hooker, unfortunately barreled into touch.
Jimmy George, remember those 3 tries he scored against Georgia. Farrell to Underhill, who carried really well against Wales last time out. Made a lot of big meters with ball in hand. He's not just a percussive tackler, Sam Underhill. Now here's Carl Sinclair. We know all about his ball carrying. Ben Youngs to George Ford, that Leicester 9-10 axis. And Dula takes it really well. He's an excellent fullback in the air for such a small man.
Taken back, fellas.
Jalibert, ball taken back. Kuyu outside the 22. And there's George Ford again, always in that drop back position, isn't he? And Dula underneath this one, and that's very much the England style, is kick the ball deep, then they come flying up in that white wall, as you say, and then put the opposition under pressure.
That's England to a T. They put that ball up in the air, not necessarily to challenge, but up in the air again. Let the French guy catch the ball, hit him, put pressure on, and then try and make a turnover, or the France make a mistake. That's England's game, and that's where they want to play them, down in the 22.
This autumn, the ball has had more airtime than the Beatles' greatest hits on the singles. Here's Watson, another line, test line. Off he goes, in for Jonathan Joseph, who's been playing on the wing for England. Youngs, Underhill. Nigel Gaines, who came in late. Marco Vunipola didn't recover in time from an Achilles injury. Means Joe Marler is on the bench. Youngs again uses that boot, giving the ball a hematoma.
Advantage France there. Dula again, he's very, very secure at the back. That's what you want in any rugby game. You need your fullback commanding the airwaves in a sense, but again, he's fleet of foot. If he gets a chance to break, he can score tries. We've seen him do that, but he is a very, very strong attacking 15, and that time a pretty good kicking 15. The bounce of the rugby ball.
England 98% line out on the Autumn Cup, and 11 from 11 against Wales. And there's another one going to Joel Onsbury. And Youngs again.
Backwards off white.
Comes off Sam Underhill's fingers. Off goes Jonathan Dante. Ducking underneath, doing a bit of limbo work. Here's Kuyu. Jalibert. England scream turnover. The referee Andy Brace, he's having none of it though. Here's Aldeghiri, another player who carried well last weekend against Italy. He's had 2 ACLs, might have had more caps, but for those long-term injuries as Jalibert dribbles the ball away into touch.
I think that was the right option, Jalibert. He's trying to obviously bring his wingers in. He had a flanking challenge on the left outside because you can't keep passing that ball. You sometimes, again, you have to put the toe on it. England's press is so hard. Actually, France were doing nothing with it. They were just getting hit back. That's when you need your 10 to say, right, OK, I'm going to make this decision.
What's your entry on
You were saying England kicked the ball 40 times against Wales. England have kicked the ball out of hand over 40 times, 5 times under Eddie Jones, and they've won all 5. One of those wins was 44 points to 8 here against France. And as he says, it works.
Mate, it does work. It isn't pretty on the eye. But if you're a passionate Mad England supporter, so what? You know, it is the way. You kick the most, you win the most. You're putting pressure on players. But Nandola, the great Fijian, yesterday scored 3 tries. He tweeted, didn't he? I'm not on Twitter. You are. He told me this. That it was great. He said, well, we go into games. We go into games to win attackingly, not defensively. England at the moment go into a game knowing they will beat sides just using their defence. And it's not great on the eye, and it's not great on the marketing aspect of the game either, personally, but it's winning, so there you go. He's paid the big bucks to win.
Well, talking of winning, there he was, thrown up in the air, his own personal safety, not regarded at all. Cameron Walkie got his hand to the ball. Did say at the start of the game, he is a menace on both sides of the ball. Did say at the start of the game, his battle with Itoje would be one to watch.
He's an athlete, absolute athlete, and this will be good to see the retaliation now that Itoje puts on him. And equally, Makalu's on the bench. I'm surprised actually Makalu's on the bench. He will come on and actually add that ball carrying ability, but also pressure in the line-out, because Makalu's a fantastic line-out exponent as well.
By the way, on that kicking game stats so far, 27 kicks out of hand, 15 from England, 12 from France. The trend continues. England have won 14 of their last 16 tests. That includes Argentina, Australia and New Zealand in a row at the World Cup. The losses, South Africa in the final and France in round 1 of the 2020 Six Nations. Not much time to gather this French scrum. Can they hold it together? Off goes Villiers, and he finds Jonathan Danty. It goes forward, unfortunately, for France, but that scrum was... Well, it was trying to stay glued, but you could just see the seams beginning to fracture there.
Danty's powerful. Underhill comes round. You see Ben Young's back in the day, a scrum half pouncing on the other scrum half. But Danty, you want someone to come on a line at 12. There's probably no better than him.
It's foul play against
England. Knocks it on.
No, it's against. I'll get a number for you now. It's off Sam Underhill.
Okay, 7. Okay.
He never passed it. He kicked it out with his hands.
Okay, so it's a penalty against 7.
Sam Underhill kicks the ball. He's not allowed to do that. I missed that. I apologise.
Well, Ben Whitehouse was the man who spotted it, the TMO.
Yep. And that's why you've got a TMO, so you're not. He's kicked that ball. It's the referee's interpretation.
I need to get the
ball was out.
I don't want you standing up. We need to get that set up.
The match against Wales last week was Sam Underhill, the rugby equivalent of Thunder Snow. You were in Edinburgh yesterday, Dowie. There was thunder snow, I believe, on, was it Friday night?
Friday night, well, it was Thursday night, I think. Friday night, it was just so dark and wet. I've got to say credit to the Georgians and the Fijians, who hadn't played a game because of obviously the COVID. They actually put on a show at Murrayfield yesterday. It was liberating. It was lovely to watch.
9 tries in that match.
Yeah.
9, amazing really in the conditions. Fiji 6 of those. Jalibert. Just 22 years of age. And he's kicking beautifully again today. Remember, he dropped the goal against Scotland at Murrayfield in one of the earlier rounds. And on target very much today. Fabien Gaultier was snorkeling in the Thames this morning, but yet again forgot to take off the mask.
You leave my old mate alone, Fabien Gaultier. He's producing a good side, a good youthful side, and he's giving the youth a chance to expose them at the big high table, but also seeing how they can handle that pressure. And they're doing pretty well at the moment, I would say, France.
That's a great start for France, considering the side that they've had to put on the field. There's only a dealer checking and dancing and trying to cut his way through.
Sorry, Mark, how many players did you say aren't available? Is it 20?
It's between 25 and 30. Yeah, it's certainly 25 of the main first choicers.
So this is France C, really.
Farrell. And Henry Slade, who scored a try against Wales, just had to walk it in. It was on the end of a big overlap down in West Wales. Here is Ellis Gaines, the baby rhino as he's known. Just pops the ball off to Vunipola. Here's George Ford, and they was under pressure straight away there from Villiers. So that's good defence from the left winger. Sean Edwards, remember, the coach of this defence, and they've turned the ball over, and there's space there too. Now can Watson get back quickly enough? Where's the ball going to bounce? Well done, Mathieu Jalibert, and he allows the player to get to his feet, and wrestling for the ball in there, and England do well to get back there to help out their isolated mate. Now Sinclair carries, and he carries outside the 22.
Use it now.
So Ben Youngs will almost inevitably go early, and already the French are set deep to take this launched ball. And it's Villiers who's underneath it with Johnny May. Taken by Le Gelon. Oh, it's a loose pass from Gelon. Just when France need to stay tight. Knock on from England. Here is Cuyu. No Bougari told.
Advantage over.
And Gelon, who was playing number 8 last week against Italy, but can play across that back row.
No effect.
Villiers, ex-French Sevens international. He's played in the World Series. Lightning quick. Scoring tries for Toulon this season. Cuyu yet again to the air. Off goes Villiers, one of the chasers. Moefana hits Ben Youngs hard. Watson might get caught by Villiers. Can he scramble his way out of a difficult situation, Anthony Watson? Ben Youngs gets it to Vinnie Paul. And England under all sorts of pressure in this first half. French leading by 10 points to 6. Scoring the only try of the first half, and what a well-worked try it was too.
Rafael Ibanez was asked before the game started, what do you want to see from this young group of French players? He said, well, a physicality, because obviously England based their game around that. He said, well, I want to see how our guys handle it, and at the moment they're having the upper hand. They're hitting hard. Their line speed is better than England. They're tackling superbly. Villiers made a decision. That's why they got so much territory on that. He made that decision to stop that rush defence by signalling the man, I'm going to go in on that guy and hit him. And that's exactly what they did. Turnovers happened, and look where France are now. So back in the game. Lucky again.
Good contest.
Well, it certainly isn't a farce at this stage. Colafua to Moefana. Great again. Footwork from Moefana in midfield. Shipping the ball on to Girassi. And here's Bougari.
Just showing that England have missed 13 tackles so far. And that is credit to the French. The angles that they are running, the power that they are running, they're just busting the tackles.
And the footwork as well, Derek. That's more like it from England. Driving France back, hitting them hard, making them work for the gain line. It's all about winning those collisions, isn't it? Rugby is a simple game when you can win the collisions. Here's Jalibert. Johnny May underneath it, surrounded by 3 Frenchmen. One of them is the try scorer, Brice Dulin.
Yes, well, look at that. Hit by 3 people and still presents the ball superbly. High tackle. Again, it was malicious, but you're not allowed to put your hands, arms, shoulders, whatever, anywhere near the head. That was accidental in a sense, but the referee's straight there. Slade, it's the old seatbelt, goes up high. Rides how he knows straight away, Slade. Hands in the air. But again, pressure release time for France. Galtier, Ibanez, the whole of France watching this will be delighted with this group of young players, no hopers. Farcical team coming to Twickenham. Eddie Jones. Bookies had him at what, Robbo? 20 points? 25 points?
Yeah, 20-point margin. 7-1 on England to win this game.
Long way to go, obviously, but I've been very impressed with this French side. The appetite, you know, it is that gauntlet thrown down. Come on, then. You're given absolutely no chance. You know, you're not even first, second, probably third choice.
Well, there's shirts representing 600 clubs around the country draping the empty seats there, and the seats that are filled by... Is that his real hair? What a family.
I think he's just delighted to come and watch a game of rugby. Oh, my word.
I hope those were wigs. Yeah, there's 2,000 fans allowed into the stadium today. 400 of those NHS workers. 50 of them are in the royal box. I wonder who's sitting in the Queen's seat.
I wonder what wine they're having. I bet it's posh wine. Yeah, nice to see the shirts there. We've won from Winnington Park, my junior club, and it is nice to have a bit of crowd noise. 2,000 people in watching this, enjoying this. Well, not so much with France at the moment because they're in the lead and driving for England's try line.
And they went for Girassi this time in the line out. There's another advantage against this
legs above the horizontal there.
Ill-disciplined England. I mean, something loose about England today. They're giving away a lot of penalties and making mistakes.
They're rattled, mate. That's what's happening. It's not going to script. The game plan they're trying to bring to France, which has worked throughout this competition and mostly works, isn't today, because France have come in with an aggressive approach. They're not letting England settle at all. Jalibert will go for goal on this. The way he's hitting the ball, this should be a given 3 points. Because, again, sometimes coaches, when I play it, I wish certain coaches wouldn't say certain things. It just fires them up. Last time in Stade de France, what did Eddie Jones say? That we're going to come over to France and brutalise you, in a sense. You're never going to play a game more physical than that. What happened? Oh, France won.
Well, it was 24-0 after quite a short period of time.
There you go. I mean, there's a long way to go. I still expect England to come through this. But at the moment, this French team are asking them a few questions. Hard questions.
Well, England have won 7 tests in a row. The last defeat was by France, the game we've just been talking about. Remember that spell when England won 18 in a row under Jones. But France haven't won in London since 2007 in a Rugby World Cup warm-up game. Are they on target for the big shot here now under that man Fabien Galthié? What a start to his coaching career.
Penny for the thoughts. Like I said, plenty of time to go. France have had this half, and they've had it by some quarter in a sense. That makes sense, but you know what I mean. They've really stuck it to England. They've carried hard. They've been aggressive. If England kicks to them, they've kicked back. They haven't given them a foothold.
Yeah, I'll get out the way.
So it's all good for Kuyu and his boys.
Captain Kuyu.
Hold, stop.
Has a ring to it, doesn't it? And Dino with the clearing kick, and he's looked pretty sharp. You know, Anthony Boutier, who's out injured, one of those 25 frontliners who are out back with their clubs.
I think they've made a mistake there. It's about one of the only mistakes.
Okay, just open up.
Organisational mistakes that this French team have done. He's
outside,
absolutely.
He's outside.
Yeah, Bracey kicked it from 7 metres from his own line.
That's a huge mistake.
Again, you've got 4 minutes to go from half-time. England have got a fantastic chance now. We know how powerful the line-out is, powerful the line-out drive. Normally, most of the backs come in and give a hand. And here we go.
Well, Jimmy George has scored 7 tries for England, 3 of those against Georgia. Can he get on the tail of the maul here? Listen to this 2,000 crowd really getting behind England. Up goes Itoje. Now it's Curry really running hard at Tonopua. Ben Youngs needed that 2-second quick ball, and it was a long way past the 2-second mark. They're having a dig in there now. France managing to slow the ball down. Launchbury tackle on the line with a Pola now. Can he be stopped? He can. It's good defence. Sean Edwards will have this basically scratch side, very well drilled. Kyle Sinker goes now. Launchbury, his turn to nestle his way towards the whitewash. Doesn't quite get there.
On the line.
Blue blocking paper. Defence, pick and go again. Sinker this time. Maybe a little bit of a rib. Little twist. A little turn. Oh, held up again by the French defence. How did they manage to get there? That is brilliant stuff. England have huge numbers away to the left-hand side. If they can get their hands on the ball here. Might just keep it tight though. They do. They push and drive and wrestle and muscle. It's short again. Itoje gets his hand to the ball. Owen Farrell is there with Ben Youngs. Little Pod drives towards the edge of the post through Launchbury.
Got to go left now. Got to go left this goal. They're going to keep it in.
Stacked up left. But the forwards are deciding to use those pods. It's Ellis Gaines. Is this the right option by England? Well, it may pay off eventually, but the French are resolute and muscular. 12 phases the French have managed to hold out now. Ellis Gaines, the baby rhino. Has the baby rhino the strength to get there?
Sorry, lost forward.
And it's lost forward. So the French have survived. As you say, Davy, we were both saying it. I mean, there were 4 or 5 English backs on the left-hand side, and most of the French defenders were sucked in around their own post.
Have to go there. I'm sorry, you've got a guy playing 9 who's got over 100 caps. You've got a fly half with experience. You've got an inside centre. That ball needed to go. France are absolutely pumped up. Champagne will be flowing tonight just on the defensive display of this first half. Shaun Edwards take a bow.
Yeah,
this is one in, all in. This is people pushing themselves out of the way to make that tackle, to fight for one another. The result, knock that ball. Unbelievable defence. Unbelievable defence. Match-winning defence.
I was listening to Shaun Edwards on a podcast this week. He lives in Perpignan now, and he is learning French. But he says...
Wigan French.
Wigan French. But he says, I just scream and shout, and they seem to understand what I mean.
Look at this now. Challenge. He's the guy that just about legally slows that ball up. If that ball had come back out then, I'm sure England would have scored. Then it was just a matter of time. From an English point of view, they didn't keep their composure. They pushed themselves using their forward dominance. The result is a blue. Well, I talked about the white wall. It was the blue wall, was bigger and stronger than the England attack. He knows. Long way to go. Don't get me, I'm enjoying a game of rugby because teams are asking questions of this England side. Well, France are asking questions of this England side at the moment. And that's what I want to see, is how they deal with that. Aldegheri is going off. He's not in a good way. If you've got to bring someone on, you bring this gentleman on.
Well, Vinny Antonio,
wow.
At one point in his career, he weighed unbelievably 156 kilograms.
20 seconds.
You can't quite see his cheekbones yet, but he has slimmed down from those days.
He has, and he's some player as well. He's got good hands, but primarily this is what he's been brought. Well, he had to come on, obviously, because Aldegheri's gone off. So he'll have to bite down on the piece of leather now, because France just need to get this downtown. They've absorbed so much pressure. That's really sapping strength, but actually what it gives them is a massive lift.
Quite surprised there, actually. Aldegheri should have been helped up the tunnel because he was wobbling all over the place.
Until the ball is
looks like he's taken a knock to the head, concussion of some sort. He could hardly stay on his feet, but he was allowed to walk up the tunnel on his own.
Well, anyway, they've got the medical guys with him, so he's in the best hands. Hopefully, the HIA and he'll be recovering, but I don't think he'll be back on that pitch. Now, Kuyu's job, you get this settled, you put it in, you give it to Jalibert, and you kick it into Rosette.
Yeah, you get to half-time with a lead, and what a sharp halfway scoreline this is going to be. Fabien Galtier, by the way, played in that famous World Cup semi-final when France beat New Zealand 43-31 in this stadium. Are we going to have something like that today? We shall see. It's certainly been a very functional and successful first half of this French side. They've scored one try through their fullback Brice Dulin, set up magnificently by Mathieu Jalibert. England 6, France, with all those players missing, 13. Well, England where they deserve to be, and that is behind. This virtually scratch French team has played with heart, yes, but organisation too. England just cannot find their rhythm, and really butchering a chance while bunching on the French line almost summed up their own frustration. A test for them all now, and Eddie Jones, team top, Galtier and co must be happy with how this combination has worked out. Remember, just Dulin and Antonio are in double figures cap-wise. So what is the answer for England in this second half? As Eddie Jones said before the game, he wants to light up people's eyes in this game. 2,000 fans in the stadium, and a little bit to go to light up the eyes of too many English fans at the moment after that first half performance. England missing 14 tackles, and there wasn't one line break from England in that first 40. George Ford, second half is underway. taken by Cameron Walkie, who had a good, solid first half in various different facets. Kuyu to Brice Dulin. Curry trying to charge down that clearing kick. And off goes Elliot Daly. Bougari makes the tackle. French defence very good in that first half. Ben Youngs still at 9. Cap number 104 for him. And George Ford goes aerial once more. Anthony Watson, did he knock that ball on? Yet again, it's the ball in the air technique. Billy Vunipola, that looked like it might have been a knock-on as well, but on we go, says Andy Brace. Ben Youngs, this time it's to Owen Farrell. Shelly Bear underneath it, runs into Moefana. Obstruction, was it?
Straight down.
Actually, it's
13 step.
Yeah, it's coming in off the feet from Moefana. So the first penalty of the second half goes the way of England. But what do they have to do in the second half to quench this French desire?
They ain't going to stop kicking, that's for sure. Because to throw, Gay abandoning the ball around is not England's way, and it will just bring France into this game. Because again, the tenacity of the tackle has been the key to France's success in that first half. England need to get a hold of the ball. Handling errors, they're 5-1. So that means the pressure that France are putting on them, England do not like it at the moment. Turnovers 6-4, so France are getting there. They're forcing all the pressure back on England. So I know England just a cool head. They've kicked for the corner. France have made that mistake. Now they've got to make them pay. But again, it's the balance between the grunt of the forwards and the desire of the backs to put it through their hands.
Jimmy George to Lonsbury. You can see Walkie going up there again. He's got that free rein, hasn't he, to challenge that England line-out. Off goes Ben Youngs and pulls the ball back. Anthony Watson. Here is Maro Itoje. Fabulous pretty much every time he pulls on an England shirt. Now it's forward for Elliot Daly. Steps inside. Raka, who makes a defensive error there. Ben Youngs to Billy Vunipola. Stopped with a good tackle from Cameron Walkie. Well played by him. The back row forward to bring one of England's big weapons down. And here is Farrell. A challenge in the air. And Villiers trips over as he tries to chase the ball back. Neither player managing to do anything conclusive underneath that high ball.
Again, first time you think England are going to run the ball, but they're going to go the aerial route once more. The kick pass.
Could be knocked down otherwise, wouldn't it?
Okay, we'll just get the angle.
Watson knocks it forward. Okay, should be a 22.
France in goal.
Ben Whitehouse will make that decision.
Otherwise, knock on. It's going to be a scrum here.
Sorry, Bracey, can you clarify that? I lost you there.
Yeah, we're just checking to see if Blue took that back, which would be a scrum 5, or it's knocked on by Blue, by White.
Yeah, that's fine. We're checking that now.
Is it a knock-on, basically? They will sort this out, Ben Whitehouse and the TMO truck. And again,
if it's an in goal, then it's a 22.
It's interesting watching where Billy Vunipola is. Everyone sort of lines him out in a French shirt, and that was Walkie making a great hit on him. But Dimitri Yashvili, the famed French period scrum half and internationals, are just alongside him on French television, and he was all smiles at half-time. And his biggest worry, in a sense, is will or can France keep this ferocity at? I mean, the physical ferocity in the defence.
I think it hits the forearm of Anthony Watson, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just going forward. As Baptiste Kuyu challenged.
It's off the white hand there to me, Ben.
Yeah, with the line
2 seconds. We're just having a look at that again. We're going to slow it down.
Andy Brace wasn't happy with that.
Because it's a good game.
This is what Eddie Jones was talking about during the week, is how the game is slowed down so much by TMO decisions, and sometimes maybe you could argue they're over fussy. Andy Brace was sure that it was a knock-on, and that call could have been made maybe slightly earlier.
Indeed, and it just takes the energy, takes the life out of the game. This has been a great game. Scoreline wouldn't suggest that, but England have been asked incredibly hard questions. Can they solve the maths question in a sense? Ben Earls is on, Underhill is off, Launchbury's off, Johnny Hill is on, So it's all changed early on in the second half.
Joe Lonsbury replaced by Johnny Hill, the 6'9" Johnny Hill, who's actually scored a try in a Premiership final here for the Exeter Chiefs.
Again, let's see the French exit now.
Set, stay ball.
Danty's in at fly half in a sense that he can crash it up there. We'll go straight back to Jalibert. There you go, Danty first. And there's the crash.
It's a classic exit this, give it to the 12. We've seen it so often. Various teams, Couillou, getting himself in a little bit of trouble here. And as you said, Dowie, can France survive physically in this second half against England? They've got a very powerful bench. Already seen the arrival of Ben Earl and Johnny Hill, who's a massive man. And Ben Earl has been superb this season for Bristol after his loan signing from Saracens. But here is Couillou. He's been at Lyon since the age of 5. And off to England again through Elliot Daly. Now Johnny May's hardly had a chance to run in open space today, and he's got this phenomenal try-scoring record against France. Scored a hat-trick 2019, scored 2 tries against them in Paris in the Six Nations this year. That was part of England's great fight back in that match.
They're just giving England no time whatsoever. It's almost watching what England do to other teams, especially in this tournament. Put them under incredible pressure. They're not comfortable on the ball, England, at the moment.
That's got Sean Edwards written all
absolutely.
over it. Dular going in at scrum half and didn't look like a scrum half. Just he's the right size to be a scrum half.
There's a bit of indecision in half-back. I know Doolan was in there at 9, but Couillou played his get-out-of-jail card before that, about 2 minutes ago, making indecision when you've got to have a clear head, get that ball exited.
Elliot Daly, that was more like it from Daly, weaving his way around defenders.
Full blue, yeah. Okay,
Sinclair pops it up, advantage here to wing, and there's Johnny May now! Gets the offload away to one. Farrell did really well to Johnny Way.
Advantage.
Toje, and he ships it on. Ellis Gaines, Elliot Daly, should he have kicked the ball? He did, of course, no. There was a penalty coming his way.
Well, he will have known it's a penalty coming the way because there was 2. It was a penalty. I think there was 2 penalties given that. There was an advantage coming. It's a play to nothing. But again, England's first instinct is to kick the blooming ball away. You had 2 people on the outside there. There was cover coming from France, but get it through the hands. Constant, put it on the toe all the time.
Yeah, much better call.
It's the 4. It's Pesenti initially, so you were playing a big advantage there. Farrell would go for goal.
There was also a no-arms tackle by 4 penalty.
No-arms tackle from the TMO coming in. France are putting bodies on the line. Double penalty.
And no hands.
There you go. Big pause up, my fault.
He was the apparent blocker. And Johnny May in the first half that gave away a penalty. Tozonti of Poe. Shadowing the Pyrenees. We had good fun down there one day, Dowie, sharing a microphone. I think we fought for the mic all through the match. Remember that?
We did indeed. I didn't get much airtime, obviously. It's a beautiful place, but most of France's rugby grounds are fantastic. La Rochelle, Poe, at the moment. I think people around there will be watching this, French supporters, and smiling, even if this goes over.
Owen Farrell's 28th game as England captain, and he gets them just a little bit closer. 13 points to 9. Little signs of the French maybe beginning to lose composure. They've got to regather themselves now. They may face an onslaught from England in this second half.
They'll be disciplined, mate. If Sean Edwards brings anything into a defensive setup, is the discipline, as they don't lose your arms going up too high, whatever. You stick to the patterns, you get off that line together, you don't jump out so the referee can notice you before the others. You go in a line, you go as a team.
Jonathan Dante goes off. I think he was carrying an injury. Well, I know he was carrying an injury into this game, so Barassi is on. Jean-Pascal Barak, who started against Italy, was injured in that game. Ben Youngs. Oh, good bounce for Johnny May here. He almost got a boot to it as Raka covers back the dreadlocked. And Livereti Raka. Raka, by the way, in Fijian means rugby, so he is literally Mr. Rugby.
On number 3.
Mr. Rugby hasn't had any ball in the first half, but I don't think he'll matter too much. Off they go again, and a little cheeky one to the front of the line-out.
Here's Moefana meet Billy Vunipola. Jalibert, seen space, has he? Covering it quickly was Daly, though the space wasn't there. The man Daly was on the move, filling the space quickly, as good fullbacks do.
I think that's what we call a dominant tackle, Mr. Robson.
A rib-crushing tackle, at the very least. Here's Jalibert. Off we go again. Same kind of thing, different trajectory. And it might just be being returned in a similar fashion. No angle on that one.
Hold.
I'll make us a round of sandwiches, Dowie.
Yeah, I'll get the coffees in. Hold on a second. It's just white.
Oh, Jalibert to Raka and Jalibert. Well, it was a difficult pass to take, wasn't it, from Mathieu Jalibert? Of course, that's what happens. You get that kicking tennis. Of course, what you want from the end of the kicking tennis is to gain some sort of advantage and for the other team to make a mistake.
That's why England do it. It's not pretty to watch, but you can see statistically it'll happen that way, and that's the way to make a tackle. And Moefana inside will be screaming, but he said, "I'm not going to show anything." That is an absolutely perfect 100% dominant tackle. But again, coming back to that, it's who's going to blink first, isn't it? Unfortunately, France have. That's a shocking pass from Jalibert. Wasn't even on his. He knows he's had a pretty good game. He's kicked well. He's organised well, but again, he's given England a chance, and that's why they do this kicking game all the time.
It might be imagination, but just a few little signs that the French are starting to make the wrong decisions inside their own half at the wrong time, and that was maybe another one of them there. We had one a moment or two ago from Baptiste Couillou, got himself into terrible trouble, and hinging at the scrum from the French. Here's Vunipola for Ben Youngs. George Ford, oh, there's space on the outside. Elliot Daly, and he finds Anthony Watson. Can he step his way through? Can he get support? No advantage. Back for the penalty. What a chance for England, but fair play to the French. My goodness, those blue jerseys got across that field double quick.
Passing too quickly though. Look, the ball just inside shoulder kick. Take. Too quick. I'm sorry. Again, France do get across superbly well, but again, you've got to draw guys, get that inside shoulder going.
Yeah, man.
It would seem that they're not used to it. There you go. They're not used to getting that ball through the hands, inside shoulder, hold the defence, stop the sliding defence from France coming across, give the guy outside a chance to score.
We actually saw that in the Scotland-France game that we did down up at Murrayfield, but when Rattez gave the ball just slightly too early to Vakatawa. He still scored, but Vakatawa was pointing, not now, hang up, but he passed it slightly early. Vakatawa strong enough, big enough, skillful enough to get the try anyway.
Totally agree, and I don't want to be negative, but unfortunately you get chances too and far between, especially in this game at the moment. And really, that's just it's not a schoolboy error, everyone likes to use that term, but actually it's a technical error, giving it too early.
Well, England have lost just 2 of the last 30 at home against Ireland, the Grand Slam game on St Patrick's Day here, and New Zealand. 2 teams to have vanquished the men in white in that period of time. Moefana's kicking percentage hasn't been at its best in the last year or so, and missing an important one there.
1 and 2.
And on come some reinforcements for the French. Tiato Maivaka is one of them, and Rodrigue Netti, who started last week against the Italians. Colin Garr goes off, and Bugarit replaced by Maivaka. Here's Couillou under big pressure from Johnny Hill. Exeter Chief double winner, Premiership and Champions Cup. England just too big and too beastly at that breakdown. And is this then beginning to impose themselves physically? They're certainly spending a lot more time inside this French half.
It is the game again. It's Villiers does superbly well to get that ball up. Unfortunately for Kuya, the captain, he just taps it back, not directly to him, but it gives England's then the hounds of hell, the white hounds of hell, chance to get onto that scrum half. They've got him. They've won the penalty for holding on. They go into the corner. The crowd noises up. England have got to start scoring some tries.
Ben Earl doing so well to get over that ball for England. Now Jamie George. See if Walkie can cause some damage in there. Walkie got up again. Was it he who got his hand on the ball? He just causes carnage in there. Whether he actually touches it or not, you know he's on your watch. He's on your case the whole time in the line out. Here's Daly, now Johnny May. Now there is a bit of space for May. Has a little scan. Finds Farrell. Moravana came up to tackle, gets some help from Kuyu, some assistance. Johnny Hill. Ben Youngs. Daly for Slade. Maro Itoje. Yeah, posted wide for England. Sinclair now. And Ben Youngs again. Inside the French half, not afraid to go aerial. Great take by Brice Dulin. Really, for such a diminutive man, I'm not quite sure how he does that. But,
he is brilliant.
It is astonishing. Here is Jalibert. He's drilled it low. He needs this to go into touch, or certainly get in behind Elliot Daly to allow the chasers to get there. Raka was one of those. The ball is forced out of play, and that's good. Good hunting by the French.
Well, just when you think England are coming into the game and causing France to give a few penalties away, all of a sudden Elliot said there's no need for that. You know, it's England's preference is to kick the ball. Well, that is such a cute angle. You don't try and be cuter and go right down the touchline. You go infield, you get some grass infield, and what it's done is release France out of their 22, where England were putting the pressure on. That's what England want to do. They want to keep teams in the 22, come away with points all the time. France have released that. 25 minutes to go. My word, this is in a balance. Makalou to come on England as well. 7. He's some player if anyone hasn't seen him.
Moivaka, Scruffy, I think it's knocked on by Ben.
Not straight.
Could have gathered that. It's not straight.
Scrum called.
England could have gathered the ball on the floor. It could have been, a quick transitional advantage there. England might have gone.
Yeah, I'm happy. Come on then, let's go. Okay, time off 6. Cease.
As we wait for the scrummage, Makalou is the latest player to warm up on the touchline alongside Guillaume Ducat of Bayonne. So Cameron Walkie, and Dowie, your thoughts on what he has done today?
I wouldn't be bringing him off. I'm being serious with you. He is causing so much problem in that line-out. It's a crucial area of dominance that normally England has, and actually put pressure on with the likes of Maro Itoje on opposition sides. He's been a one-man wrecking ball in there. They're not quite sure where to go, where to throw. It's not been clean, but obviously he might have blown a gasket. He needs to come off. Makalou comes on. He's almost like for like, but not as good in the line-out. So, hey, Fabio calls the decisions. He obviously knows more about this French side than I do. We will see. It's a big 25 minutes for English rugby at the moment, not so much for France.
Makalou looked a bit nervous against Italy last week. He started that game, dropped a few balls, did score a try with the last play of the game. Let's see how he settles into this one off the bench. Here's Dulin, Billy Vunipola. Nice pass, big Billy. George Ford. And it's Dulin. He will do something similar to Elliot Daly. Jalibert and Dulin so often perched inside their own 22, awaiting the inevitable kicks from England. Here comes another one. Who's underneath this? Dulin, secure as always, tackled by Johnny May.
Turnover's good.
Turnover is good. In come England. Swarming, honey-potting around the ball. Sinclair, Jamie George. thought about releasing it. It might have been a good idea. There were plenty of white shirts. Now they go. Here is Ben Earl with 11 tries in this season for Saracens in Bristol.
You're good. No advantage, high.
Tackle, penalty, and in a very kickable position for England. Chance to close the gap to just a 1 point here as the final quarter approaches. It has been an extremely competitive tussle and a long way from being a farce.
It is a long way. Itoje's over the top, perfectly legal, very, very quick to that. Isolation from France. Ben Earls takes the ball, and that's what it's... Well, it's a very difficult one, isn't it? Because Ben Earls is about 3 foot from... He's already going down in the tackle. There's a mitigating circumstance there, surely. I don't know what else that big fella could do.
Early, but just make sure we're not passive.
He's falling down, and he's just... Again, he's made contact with the head. That's the rule. That's what the penalty is, and this is 3 points. Farrell ain't missing this.
Quick.
His percentage success coming into this game, 77%.
Last quarter.
Usually it's a good bit higher than that. As I said, 5 from 8 against Wales in round 3 of the Autumn Cup, the final pool game. But oh my God, he's done it. Well, you see, he's done it again. He had a funny shape to one of his kicks in the first half, which he missed, and maybe he's just lacking a bit of confidence there, because he is missing a lot more kicks than he has done in the past.
I'm amazed. I'm absolutely amazed. It's time for Ford to step up, or Elliot Daly, because I didn't think he suffers. You can see the big second row. Girassi there just applauding. France are still in this game. England can't seem to get themselves back in or get in the lead. They're missing kicks.
Difficult ball to take for George Ford from Ben Youngs. Jalibert underneath this one. Johnny May comes in. Jalibert has it. Again, counter rock. Look at Itoje. That's the work he does. Those entries to the breakdown I was talking about in the first 10 minutes of the game. George Ford sees some space in the corner. Does he? No, he just sees Brice Dulin. Dulin needs to keep this tight to the touchline to put England under pressure.
Jalibert's down injured. He got hurt in that collision.
He doesn't look good, does he? Here's Villiers, the 7 specialist. Worth having a look, if you can find it, for the Villiers try against Italy. 35 metres out, rapid pace. And screaming through the entire Italian defence. Jalibert getting the ice spray, but he looks in a lot of pain. A lot of pain.
Leave him!
Carbonell is very likely to be on very soon. Off goes Watson. Vunipola pulls it back for Farrell to Ford. Here's Henry Slade now for Johnny May. Doesn't get outside Raka. Good tackle by Raka. Good pick up by Barassi. Played number 13 in that 2018 Junior World Cup final success. One of a whole bunch of players coming through from that side, or the 2 sides that won those under-20 championships back-to-back in France at home, and then in Argentina. They go for 3 in a row in Italy this summer, if that is played. That is pandemic permitting.
Leave him. Shallow enough. No.
Last quarter, Robbo. Last quarter.
QU, France pretty much marooned in their own half for the first 20 minutes of this second half. Johnny May goes off again, looking to add to that 7-try total against the French. Ben Youngs, he scored a couple of tries against the French a few years ago. What an amazing 55-35 match at Twickenham, you might recall, the day when England had to win by 26 clear points to win the title. And just fell short in the 12-try extravaganza.
Brice Dulin's had enough. He's gone in his 22, catches in his 22, he's climbing to the touch judge. I kicked it further than that. There's Jalibert, he's off. He'll have no more to play in this. Carbonell, as you said, Robbo's coming on. He will stand there at 10. This is where he got smacked. I think it was just, again, there's nothing in it. It's just caught a shoulder or he's done something to his leg. I don't know. It doesn't matter. He's off now. Carbonell takes control.
Villiers, good take. Excellent work in the air from the Toulon winger. Played in 15 World Series games for the French 7 side. Louis Carbonell, who was the starting 10 in the 18 and 19 Junior World Cup finals. So another one of those youngsters coming through under Fabien Galthié as he builds towards that World Cup in 2023. Johnny May, Rassi, Raka. There's a whole lynch mob waiting for Johnny May there. They know he's one of the danger men. Eddie Jones calls it killing the kings when you target the top man on the other side. The French doing this to England, and now it's Elliot Daly. Anthony Watson has to slide and stoop to get to the ball, gives the French defence a chance. And then they win the penalty, and they've done superbly again. Macalou just off the bench, and that's the kind of thing he does. He's a tremendous athlete around the pitch. He's so dynamic, but at the breakdown, watch out as well.
Again, it wasn't very good handling. It was from Daly to Watson. He had to crouch down and take it. There's that guy I talked about, Macalou. Played his rugby at the Massy Club in Paris. Plays for Stade Francais. There he is, Ibanez. Galthié celebrating a turnover. People celebrate turnovers more than tries these days, don't they? But that was a crucial one as far as France are concerned. 17 minutes to go. England, and I need to see now from an England point of view who is going to hold a hand up, who is going to take control of this side and make those right decisions, because again, we know they're going to play the kicking game. It's interesting, Billy Vunipola has really cranked it up in the carrying. That's one part of it. So intriguing.
We'll keep England on the line.
Just over 15 to go.
England on the line.
Well, Billy Vunipola said before the game with a crowd in Twickenham at last, they would be like schoolboys showing off to girls at TE. Well, they're not showing off particularly well so far.
No. You've got to follow up your words, haven't you?
Macalou does a walkie, wins the line with Carbonell.
No, stop!
And they really need Carbonell to be calm now. It's going to be difficult for this man. He's under a lot of pressure out there. Made his debut against Italy, hasn't got a lot of game time in a French shirt. It's a huge 16 minutes for him.
That was a shock, you've got to say, from all points of view. The scrum half's pass to him, Couillou, and you've just heaped some praise, some pressure back on yourself.
Johnny Hill again. Is this the moment, Farrell? Playing Earl in midfield, but there's a knock on. They've turned it over. They get it back to Villiers. Is under pressure from Itoje. If we go again, the Elliot Daly. Johnny May wants the ball. He's not going to get it. Daly needs this to work out well for him, and it certainly does.
That time he does that superbly well. Into the corner.
2, 3.
Big turnover in the middle from England. It's another massive mistake from them. They didn't control the ball. This time Elliott controlled his ball, bouncing it end over end. Brice Dulin, who's been magnificent under the high ball today, can do absolutely nought. Now, is this the moment? Mario Itoje and the boys. France have cut it to three-man line out.
England, open up!
Antonio's in a scrum half. It normally goes to where that forward is standing. He doesn't even up the top.
Took a bit of a risk there, but it worked out well. It was beautifully delivered by the replacement hooker, Maivaka, to find his man. Can Captain Couillou lead his side to what would be an amazing victory? Remember, this is a very much French second stroke, third string outfit. Vunipola again goes off on one of those hammering runs.
Straight into Gillon. Again, he is being magnificent. He's never taken a backward step. Not flashy around the field, but again, the hard nitty-gritty stuff, having to tackle Billy Vunipola like that.
Made 20 tackles last week against Italy. Oh, can they turn this one over? Brace says no, get out of the way. Here's Will Stewart, Navath, tight head. Ben Youngs, nearly through there. What a great tackle by Macalou. Brilliant stuff. Here is Daly. More good defending by Moefana, and they get the penalty yet again. Baptiste Couillou in at the breakdown. Look how much it means to this French team. They've spent most of this second half rocking on their heels, but they are fighting so hard here to beat this England team.
France are doing pretty well, aren't they, for no-hopers? Couillou leading from the front. He's made a few little indecisive errors around the base. I'll give him that, because again, that turnover means so much. The clock is ticking down. Shaun Edwards, well,
that's his happy face.
I don't know why he's shaking his head, because his charges out there have really done to a man, to a T. Especially just at the end of the first half, when England were battering the door down, they were fighting each other to get out of the way and make the tackles. McAloo's made one already. Can they secure this line out, and can they just relieve some pressure, because England have had most of the play in the second half.
Vaca is a top 14 winner with Toulouse, so he knows what pressure's like in a final. This is a final, of course, the Autumn Cup final, the inaugural Autumn Cup. We may never see it again. It could be the only one. But France are determined to win it. Winnie Atonio with the carry. Atonio, New Zealand born, ex-Samoan under-20 international, now a French full international. Couillou, Watson, in goes Villiers. Can he turn it over? Yes, he can. And they're all at it. It's not just McAloo, it's not just Couillou, it's Villiers. Some of the smallest players on the pitch are looking so physical now.
I think somebody said something to the referee as well.
Firstly, speak to me about that again, and I'll pull you off the field, okay? The decision is who's in a strong position, locked on the ball, and then pulled down by 4.
There he goes, basically saying that Ario Itoje, he was on the ball, and he's allowed to do that. Then Itoje comes in and pulls him down. Well, there's no secret of what France are going to do to this. They'll take their time and have a go for 3 points. Farrell's radar's been off. I presume it will be Carbonell.
Yeah, and he's a fine goal kicker. The French have spent virtually no time at all in the England half in the second half. I wonder if they actually been inside the England 22 with the ball in hand.
No.
And they kicked it there quite a lot, but with ball in hand. Yeah, Carbonell, he's a fine kicker. In those 2 junior finals, he scored a lot of points, 12 from 14 across the 2 finals, and 112 points in those 2 tournaments. So he's got a reputation off the boot. But of course, this is a slightly different level.
And if he gets this, England would need a converted try to draw, with the clock ticking.
Made his debut a week ago. Never has he ever felt quite so much pressure as this. And I'm told he is a very confident young man, and he'll need all that confidence now. Oh, he showed it there.
9 and 14. 9 and 14.
It does amaze me. I said in my words at the time, the Le Bleu are a very dangerous animal when you don't know anything about them. Again, I hate the term, you have nothing to lose. Well, you do have something to lose, you have the game to lose. But they came into this, and all Fabien Galtier and Raphael Benitez said, right, can you make them physically? Can you do something to, unsettle this England side? They've done it. They've asked the questions, and at the moment, they're 7 points ahead.
Yeah.
Good take at the kick-off by Tolofua. That's where sides so often make mistakes when they've managed to get a critical score, but not on that occasion from Salvatio Tolofua on his debut for France. I'm just getting confirmation France have not visited England's 22 in this half yet with the ball. And here they go through Max Malins.
Luke tackled him. It's that guy against Jolon. He's up to 16 tackles. I think that's 6 more than anyone else on his side.
Antonio makes a tackle, and Dan Robson is on for Ben Youngs. There's an advantage coming England's way. Dan Robson try against Georgia. Good offload, Max Malins. Here's Ben Earl. He's a player who could be a hybrid. One of those players Eddie Jones talks about. Sort of guy could play in the back row and maybe the centre as well. He's such a skillful footballer. Here's Dan Robson for George Ford, and now Slade and Farrell. Good defence by France. Needed to be. Here's Robson to Will Stewart. Barrels his way out of a tackle. Robson again. England working off slightly quicker ball now. Joe Marler. Dan Robson to George Ford. Decides to switch the play. Here is Henry Slade. Great handoff by Slade. Johnny Mays out there. Can't get away from Billy Eyre. Gets him literally by the coattails. So England cannot cross that line. Look at the score. 7 points the margin into the final 10 minutes.
It was a heck of an advantage, wasn't it, from Andy Brace? Antonio nearly cleaned somebody's head off, literally, but just missed. They will go for 3. Farrell wants that kicking tee on very quickly. So basically, you get 3 points, you get to 12. A try conversion. Well, a try will win you the game. Again, England going from left to right, right to left. Malins has come on. Slade has a very good handoff, and unfortunately it goes to nowhere, as most of England's attacks have done this afternoon. So the captain decides to go for another 3. Well, his accuracy hasn't been that good.
He's got this one. 4 points the margin now. There is the possibility of extra time, which would be 10 minutes each way, but if it goes to extra time, there's also a golden point. So the first person to get a penalty, drop goal or a try wins the Autumn Cup with a 4-point margin and 7 minutes to go. It makes that slightly less likely.
And France just walk up to take this kick-off. They want this clock to go down. Ibanez has been played in some serious games himself in his career. Goodness me, this would be an upset of colossal proportions from an England point of view. Big gap.
Here goes Raka, hasn't seen too much of the ball. Good tackle by Joe Marler, ankle tap. Now here is Barassi, here's Tolofua. England's defence must be staunch now, and this is their first visit to the England 22 with the ball in this half, and they've got the advantage as Mauvaka carries. Look at Andy Brace's arm, Carbonell. That looks offside though by Moefana by a long way. It must have been a couple of metres. And what a monstrous kick this is now if the French decide to go for the posts.
Well, they'll get 3 points back. They will go for posts. They'll take another minute off the clock. I would go for posts.
Would you now?
I would, yeah. I think the forwards have just decided that as well. Bloody not bad England at the moment, but I tell you what, they may be in a bit. They will take the time. He will take as many seconds as he's allowed. He struck that ball superbly, Carbonell, last time. Raka was off, wasn't he? That's the first real time he's had a go, and I think it might have been Joe Marler that just gets him in there and gets his legs. Luckily, because he was going towards that line. Oh, what a formidable sight that is. Ferocious. That's a great tackle. That is a super tackle.
Just a reminder, this French team, very similar to the one playing today, didn't play that well against Italy last week. 36-5 they won, but it took a yellow card from Trula. France scoring 3 tries in 8 minutes when he was in the bin. Otherwise, scratchy enough. Now, Carbonell, he did it before. He showed incredible, amazing composure. If he lands this one, well, it actually puts extra time back into sight, because it makes it a 7-point margin. Converted late try from England would spice it all up again. But first things first, he's got to get this kick. Can he pull France into what might well now be a winning position against England? He struck it well enough. It just tickles the paintwork and over it goes. So England now have got to get a converted try in this final 6 minutes, or it's France's first win at Twickenham since 2007 and the Autumn Cup.
Well, I'll make it 4 minutes, Robbo, unless the ref's going to add a lot on, which he doesn't normally. But again, France have just got to be cool. England have just got to hope they make a mistake.
And again, critically, they've taken the restart. Still a lot of work to do inside their 22 here. They've been camped here for so long, tackling, going through their defensive structures, their exit strategies. Elliot Daly, Max Malins, and he can beat defenders, we know that. McAloo makes a good tackle. He's made an impact since come on, McAloo. Billy Vunipola with the carry.
Yeah, France just do for me now what they've done most of the game. 127 tackles to 91. Put pressure on, and they're off again.
Here's Villiers. Can he get his boot to the ball? Not quite. Nearly did. Mo Afana was in there early helping him, and England get the penalty as Villiers comes in off his feet. So Henry Slade, well, we know what a massive left boot he has. You might remember the semi-final of the Premiership a couple of years back against Saracens when he put one right into the corner, and this must be the final chance. Surely 3 minutes to go.
3 minutes. Mario Itoje knows they've got to get this absolutely spot on.
Antonio.
They're going to go for a full line out. I think they are. Off the top. This ball is going to be crashed up, I would think. Here it goes.
To Exeter Chiefs, Luke Cowan-Dickie to Johnny Hill. Dan Robson to George Ford. Max Malins again. He's seeing a lot of the ball, isn't he? And he's not got on in contact. Barassi made a very good tackle. Raka. And back goes George Ford. Got to be really careful here. Does well to dodge away from Raka. He almost came up too quickly there, did Raka. And now here goes Henry Slade. Are we going to have a spectacular finish here from England? 2 minutes to go. Vunipola again looking. Oh, did he knock that on?
Don't look for that, mate.
No, says the referee. Here is Curry. One half of the Kamikaze twins. George Ford to Owen Farrell. Raka makes the tackle.
That's gone forward.
That has gone forward, definitely. Oh, the referee.
No, stop. I can't reward you. You've affected the clean because he's onside. Roll out.
Big kick. How far, how risky does Farrell go here? He's giving it to Ford into the corner. A minute and a half.
Same as down there, yeah.
Well, just when the French thought they turned the ball over, England getting the penalty.
That is.
How much can you chew off without chewing off too much? Well, not much more than that is the answer.
That is outstanding. Kicking under pressure. This is England's biggest line-out of this tournament. A converted try draws this game.
So it's Luke Cowan-Dickie to Johnny Hill again. That's the Exeter Chiefs 1-2. Cowan-Dickie is a great try-scoring record for England. Can they find the tectonic power that they need here? Rolling around the edge of that French ball. Can they get to the line, England? Yes, they can! At last, England have added some munch to the crunch. And it's Luke Cowan-Dickie of the Exeter Chiefs who gets the try with 15 seconds to go.
And they made the conversion easy, so they took that ball in there, drove towards the post as well. Senses came in, Cowan-Dickie, the Exeter Chief, rolls out of this. Carbonell's trying to get to him. There's the grounding right in front of the referee. Farrell steps up to draw the game if he gets this conversion.
Well, remember his kick to secure a losing bonus point in Paris in the Six Nations, which eventually helped England to win the Six Nations on points difference. That was in round one. And another kick of intensity for Farrell. But his kicking has not been top class today. Well, this is a man who usually delivers when he absolutely has to. And he does. Owen Farrell does the captain's work and takes this Autumn Cup final into extra time with the most stunning of finishes to this game.
Well, he is cool under under immense pressure. He hasn't had his best kicking day today, and England haven't had their best game today. France have dictated most of it. The pressure has come back from England in this second half. They've got a draw at 80 minutes. Now it's the golden point, is it, Robbo? How does this extra time work out, Mr. Robson?
Well, it's finished. England 19, France 19 at the end of 80 minutes, and what an 80 it was. And now we head off into extra time. Sudden death, extra time, up to, and I emphasise up to 10 minutes each way will be played. But the first team to score any points during sudden death will be declared the winner, and the match will end immediately with much celebration.
Indeed. So the golden point. I think we'll see a bit more kicking, but Cameron Dickey literally gets England out of jail. With a rolling little ball. It's a superb kick. I've got to give credit to George Ford pumping that ball into the corner. Absolutely, he couldn't have gone up and placed it better. 5 metres out gives you chance, gives your forwards a chance, and they took it. The fly half rewarded them with an opportunity, and they rewarded him with a try. So this now is all about where you want to play. The team that takes the clean kick off and exits well and put pressures on. It's all about forcing that other side to make the mistake. Who's brave enough?
Heads, tails. Okay, this time Owen will call.
Deidre is just conducting the coin toss between the two skippers.
Tails it is, Owen. Kick off. Want to choose an end? Stage up.
There's also the prospect of a sudden death penalty kick shootout.
If they don't get the golden point in the 20 minutes that's played. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Something you can't look for. We'll be here all night.
It's exciting stuff, and it's a great finish to the tournament, isn't it, to get the extra time, the chance of that golden point. Your thoughts on the performance of the two sides?
Lamentable from England in a sense, with all the experience out there, you know, the half-back experience, the inside centre experience, the forwards experience. They just go about their work in not a very exciting fashion. I think they came in, they saw the French team, they came in here, well, we just got to turn out, do our usual kick game and force France into sort of areas they don't want to be. We'll take the points and that will be it. Equally, France have come here, they've had, no one's given them a chance whatsoever. They've asked England numerous questions, they've been aggressive, they've been physical, and England has struggled.
What you want, of course, is a winning drop goal from either Winnie Antonio or Joe Marler from inside his own half. Sure.
That ain't going to happen, is it? You're being silly. Very, very silly. England, I believe, have won the... Well, I would think they've won the toss, because it looks like they're kicking off. That's what you want to do. I think we're about a minute and 30 seconds before we can go. Eddie Jones plugs his earpieces in.
Remember, Fabien Galdier's made it very clear that he's already started building a squad depth for the World Cup, and also made it clear that he's going to dig deep into the French under-20 sides that have won the last two Junior World Cups. And you've seen quite a few of those players already, and you've seen a few more today. And a lot of those players have been very impressive.
It's interesting here, Mark, again, as England are setting up. You've got Slade down on this left wing with Elliot Daly down this left wing. This ball will be going just inside it, or just outside the 22, and two of England's fastest guys are going to be rushing up this touchline to put pressure on the catcher to try and dislodge the ball, or actually as soon as he catches the ball to hit him to the floor, trying to make him make a mistake and get England that critical yardage, that critical territory that they can then force maybe a penalty or something like that and get that extra goal or extra golden point.
So here we go, 10 minutes each way of extra time. Golden point counts. Drop goal, penalty, try. Anything will do to secure the Autumn Cup.
England's line out. So that's gone, I think, well, for me personally, went a little bit too deep. England have gone deep. That's allowed France to clear, but crucially, they get the chance of the line out. You've got Macalou there. Jeange is going to be looking to juggle someone up in the air. England just got to secure this, get the ball out, hit it up probably with Farrell, and start eking to the yards and yards and yards, catching drive first.
Well, Jose does that. Here comes the power, and there's plenty of it in this England side, especially off the bench. We thought before the game that the bench might be what makes the difference. It was Luke Cowan-Dickie, of course, who scored the try that led to this extra time, followed up by Farrell's conversion, and it's Cowan-Dickie again on the ball. Macalou. Oh, the penalty goes to England. And it's Tolofua who is penalised for going off his feet. And this is directly in front of the post. And this is the chance for England to secure the Autumn Cup through the golden point.
Never supporting weight, 8 straight off feet.
Saying he's never supporting his own weight. He was initially, but then he's gone off his feet. Macalou cannot believe it. This is right in front of the post, but we've seen Farrell miss, what, 3 today?
Well, it's an Autumn Cup that has been criticised on some levels, but it has brought us to an absolutely titanic conclusion. What is in the head?
He's back.
Owen Farrell. He's been in situations like this so often for England, so often for Saracens. Premiership finals, European finals, a World Cup final, and now to win an Autumn Cup final. Owen Farrell, over to you. Can the tension get any greater here at Twickenham?
Oh my word. I was just watching Antonio, the big tight head that's come on. He was demanding the ball. He wanted to take a quick 22. It's the kick that hits the right upright. Here we go. My word.
Over the ball has knocked it on. Oh no, this is the moment for the French scrum to perform and to win their own penalty here, and it's just about within the Carbonell range, and Billy Vunipola, my goodness, he does not make that many mistakes.
He was looking to see where he was going to run, and he knows that he doesn't make those many mistakes. 99 times out of 100 he doesn't. This is a big scrum. Antonio's cleaning his boots. He wants clear studdage out there. France want to get this ball. I wouldn't be surprised that Raka takes this ball off the base of the scrum, from the scrum half, right off the base. He's moving right behind the scrum. Galtier.
But both coaches are down on the touchline now. I mean, they're beside themselves.
It's fantastic.
It is great.
Fantastic.
It's phenomenal. It's a tremendous way to finish this tournament, pulled together during the pandemic to give the watching public, mostly from home, some international rugby.
Fabien Galtier has just been told off from the 4th official. He shouldn't be shouting, doing things like that, but I can't blame him.
Hopefully he won't be arrested like Guy Noves was at Murrayfield after a Champions Cup final.
He'll be president of France after this one if France do actually get to lift this cup.
Stuart, to be fair, I was just having a pleasant, polite, quiet word.
Galtier is saying, well, if Eddie Jones is allowed to be there, I'm being down here as well. So, it's brilliant.
It is great, and it's certainly adding to the theatre. The Tanto in Twickenham. Now France, Winnie Antonio on the tight head side, a big scrummager. Bezzy is on for Kumu. It's dropped on this side. Off goes Moefana, makes some distance. It's outside the 22, long way outside the 22. If they're thinking about a drop goal, it's going to take them a while to set themselves into that position from here.
I don't think they'll be going for a drop on this. Their forwards want to ramp it up a little bit.
Keep your feet.
Three. Waits outside. And here is Desi. Curry makes the tackle. All about possession for the French at the moment. Jelonche with the carry. Big tackle count for Jelonche today. Carbonell's back in the slot. There's a long way back. Surely they wouldn't have had the drop goal from that distance. They've got to make a lot of meters here, first of all, to get themselves into that kind of place from where it would even enter their thinking. But they've got the ball, they've got possession. We're inside this England half again. Here is Vesey. Now McAloo, really dynamic, 27 tries. He has scored for Stade Francais in 92 appearances, so he can certainly cause some damage in open play. They're going to come this way again, I think, through Vesey.
Trying to force England to give a penalty away, a silly hand in the ruck or not rolling away quick enough. That's why they're keeping hold of this ball, not going for a drop goal.
1, 2, 3.
It works against them.
How often do you see that happen? Either in situations like that or when teams are trying to run down the clock.
Yeah, you've got to be so precise, and this team wouldn't have had that much time together. When you look at the old Munster team of back in the day of winning those European Championships, they played together week in, week out, year in, year out, and when they were closing games up, they knew exactly almost where bodies would be. And that's just gone. He's claimed the referee. Yeah, you've sealed the ball off. That's what it was given for. Cowan-Dickie runs to the head of Jones, enjoying that. I don't know whether he's enjoyed the game. He enjoyed that moment. Desperate pressure, desperate for England to win.
I think Eddie Jones is next man on. He's warming up.
I wonder what he'll say, even if England finally do win this game.
Johnny Hill is sacked. Sack is good. And they've given the ball. It's playing it on the ground, England, and it's their own line out, their own put into the line out, and what a position they were in there, just outside the 22. What an opportunity that might have been to build some pressure and get themselves into a position to either force a penalty from the French or get that drop goal.
That's it, relief now. And again, don't be too courageous. Just up to the 10-metre if you can, and you can build something from there.
Saka's
good goal. Right on the 10-metre line.
What do you mean? He's sacked there. Okay, well, we're on that there. Okay.
I'm never going up.
Yeah.
6.
Very slow to form this French line out. Now Vaca goes towards McAloo, and it's great contest in the air, and Joe Marler comes away with the ball for England.
Brilliant from Itoje there. He knew it was going to McAloo.
Stay.
Dan Robson and Marlo Itoje is on the chase with Elliot Daly again. Dries Toulon had a great game under the high ball. Takes it very securely. So light on his feet. Gets into the air so quickly.
Don't pull him.
He's got virtual vertical liftoff.
Stop.
Into the final minute of this first half of extra time. Vesey to Nealons. France up quickly. Robson. Cowan-Dickie. Who took us to where they are now with that driving wall try. George Ford again. They go into the air. Doulin is there. He makes it look so easy. Just into the basket, and good play by the French. Getting in and over the ball. A little bit of forward momentum. Just going to go all the way back to, no it's not, but he was going to pick out Carbonell, but he instead chooses McAloo. Here is Vesey, Carbonell, he's Oh, he's 20 metres back. Here he is, Carbonell. He knows it's the final couple of seconds of this first half. He's been hit there and he's down and he's hurt. Remember, Jalibert is already off injured. And he's slow to get up. You can just see him there, Louis Carbonell. Brice Dulin took the ball out of play here, and it's the end of the first half, but they don't. Johnny May. So England get a chance to attack again. Brice Dulin, just immaculate aerially today.
Okay.
Bezzy, what are they going to do from here? Antonio, they're going to try and build an attack. They must know time is up at the end of this first half.
Good contest.
Bezzy, do you not just get the ball off the pitch and then start again? Not if you're French.
You can't criticise him today. France have done superbly well.
You don't want to give away a penalty here. That's the problem at this stage. Max Malins, he's so lively. Look at the pace off the mark from Malins. Robson,
Go wide.
Colin Dickey, chance maybe on the outside here for Owen Farrell. He finds Ben Earl. Ben Earl, Raka comes across with Brice Dulin. France might pay for not popping the ball out when the clock was in the red. McAloo was close to being offside there, and eventually 3 blue jerseys bundle Robson into touch. And the end of the first half of extra time arrives. Tension all around.
Tell everyone again now, is Fabio Gattier and Servat trying to organise things. What happens if there's no points in this 10 minutes? Kicking? A kicking competition.
Yeah, it could yet go to penalty kicks unless we have a golden point in the second half of extra time. And here was the big opportunity to win the Autumn Cup for Owen Farrell. How close was this? That close? That's how close it was. So at the end of the first half of extra time, it remains England 19, France 19.
France get the chance to kick off, obviously, in this second half to put pressure instantly on England. They exited pretty well when it was their turn to receive, so again they'll be just talking about that process. I can see Servat in there, and equally England will be saying, right, come on, with all the experience we've got to got out at Twickenham this afternoon, we have got to be able to manufacture an exit strategy, a position on the field, and then hopefully to get the game won and done.
William Servat in there in the middle of that huddle.
Didn't think it would be 50 minutes, huh?
Prowling like panthers up the touchline, Fabien Gaultier and Eddie Jones in conversation there with Joe Marchant. Louis Carbonell, fortunately for France, seems to have recovered from that knock. It looked nasty when he sustained it.
Adam, let's just be prepared on the kicking content. Okay. All right then.
This is going long. This is going... Carbonell's going to give this absolutely everything. You can see everyone's going to charge up the field. Here they go. Here they go.
McAloo trying to contest. Back goes Robson, in comes Villiers. No errors here. England, there was a knock-on, I think, through that flying leap. The attempt to catch the ball, I think it was McAloo.
Always under pressure.
Who did touch it.
It was, yeah. Knock-on here.
It's a great kick-off, McAloo.
Yeah, let's go.
Didn't touch that. That went back from an England shirt.
Let's go, guys. Inside.
That went back from an England shirt. He knows he doesn't touch it.
Seconds.
Hold your weight. Hold your weight.
Crouch. Bind.
Hold your weight in.
Set. Good. Stable.
for a pound here, England. They want a pound, they got one. And that's how they're going to get their exit. All that experience. Don't get that ball out. Get it in, hold it at the back. And we'll get a penalty, and that's exactly what they've done. This game now is about territory. Slade comes up.
He's got a bazooka of a left boot, and he's just got close to the halfway line. Frank Murphy with his flag up, former Leicester and Connacht scrum half.
There's a bit of a pea shoot, another bazooka.
He can kick them a long way, but that's not quite his best. He can get more purchase than that. We've seen it before from Slade. Another Exeter man to another Exeter man. Why not with their success rate this season? Johnny Hill again taking the ball on the line out, 6'9" using every inch of that England. Robson. Johnny Mays underneath this one. Fair contest, says the referee. But it should be England ball here for Dan Robson. Here goes Joe Marler. Dips that shoulder into contact from Tolofua by George Ford. Off goes Billy Vunipola. Tackled by Pozzanti. Henry Slade. Noah Fana makes the tackle with Barassi. Close to him. Now here's Luke Cole taking. Has he the pace? Can he get past the final defenders? Carbonell gets him by those bootlaces. Is there width in this England attack? Billy Vunipola going to be so careful here. Franz Jelange is over the ball, and Jelange has stolen the ball. He took, well, it was high-risk rugby, but he knew exactly what he was doing there, and he did it brilliantly as Carbonell risks the shot. I can't take much more. Johnny May. Straight through. Oh, nearly found the tiniest of gaps there. George Ford, there's space all over the place now. Exhausted bodies on that rugby field. Here's Raka. Oh, Raka. Can he get away from Elliot Daly? Brings him down. Tom Curry tries to rip it clear. Tose's over the ball. England win a penalty in the corner. Oh my goodness. This is incredible stuff. Have you ever seen a climax quite like it to a final?
The first arriving player.
Well, it was a Cowan-Dickey break initially, wasn't it? Ford does the absolute correct thing. Get it into that area that England love to put pressure on sides. Raka comes out. Curry's covered every blade of grass. Out there he goes down. And then that's sealing the ball straight away. You can't do that. You've got to give the opposition a chance to get it. I think they've won the World Cup out there. There's still a kick to come. Farrell walks over.
And fair play, Maro Itoje put so much pressure there on the French defence by getting into that breakdown. Owen Farrell has missed 4 kicks today. He's already had one opportunity to win the Autumn Cup. And last one hit the post. Missing these.
Pas fini les gars. Concentré, c'est pas fini.
Eddie Jones described this game as England's grand final of 2020. And the Autumn Cup has its grand climax! Owen Farrell wins it for England, and more silver for England. Another trophy secured under the tenure of Eddie Jones. Multiple Six Nations, a Grand Slam, so close to in the World Cup. One win away from a second title there. South Africa too good in the final in Japan, but it was England who were too good just about in this final in London against France. England are the winners of the Autumn Cup.